Hey boys and girls, how's it going? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do real quick lesson on equivalent fractions again. I'm just gonna do two of them real quick because I think some of you guys are confused. Now let me make it clear to you. I am going to take a picture of some problems and put them on the classroom. Okay, so you can do them on a sheet of paper at home and take a picture of them and send them to me as a PDF or whatever you want to send them as, as long as I can get your work. That might be easier for you. I'll also make a Google Doc for you just so you can do it. But I am going to write the fractions in a horizontal way. So I would take 3/4. I know a lot of you guys are used to seeing fractions like that. Well, some of them don't show up like that when I type them in. So if you want to write them in or type them in as that, 3/4 can be written like that as well. So I might give you the problems and they might look like that, okay? But obviously that's the fraction I'm looking for, all right? Just a little word to the wise. I know this is tough over the computer. It'd be a lot easier if we were face to face. So let's talk about an equivalent fraction real quick with 3/4. Some of you guys were doing it correctly. Some of you guys were just multiplying the top by a certain number and you weren't doing it to the bottom, and the equivalent fraction was not correct, okay? Just remember, when you're doing fractions, if you're doing something to the bottom, you generally always do it to the top too. Or if you do it to the top, you're going to do it to the bottom. So if I want to change 3/4 into an equivalent fraction, and I cannot reduce 3/4, and we're going to talk about that today, then I'm going to go ahead and take just a random number. I'll take 3, okay? And I will multiply the top and the bottom by 3, and I will end up with 9/12. 9/12 is the same thing as 3/4, just the numbers are larger, but they're the same exact equal parts. I can take 3/4 again, multiply by 5, the top and the bottom, and I would get 15/20. Okay? Same exact thing as 3/4. Because look, if I took a 5 and divided that into that, I would get 3/4. The same thing as that. If I took what I multiplied by right up here, divided by 3, I would get 3/4. Okay? Don't make these any harder than they already are, okay? Because there's going to be things in math that are going to drive you bonkers, and this is not one of them. Equivalent fractions are generally pretty easy. So I'm also going to give you probably about 4 or 5 fractions that I want you to reduce, okay? Now I know your 4th grade teachers use the big F, and I think that's a great idea. I would use the same thing. I do mine a little bit differently, and I'm just going to let you guys see how I do mine, and then you can use it if you want to, okay? And I got a couple of cool ideas maybe I could throw at you. So let's say that I wanted to reduce the fraction 8/12. Okay, 8/12, which when I give it to you tonight on homework, it's going to look like that right there, but you're going to switch it to that on your piece of paper. So what I generally tell my kids in 5th grade when I'm tutoring them in math is that if you want to find a way to reduce this fraction, we'll go and find all the factors for the smaller number, because the factor is not going to fit into a bigger number if it doesn't fit into the smaller one. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. So what numbers go into 8? Well, obviously a factor of 8 would be 1. 1 goes into all whole numbers. Okay, that's going to be a factor for every single one. What about 2? Does 2 fit into 8? 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, it does. So 2 is another factor, okay? Now what about 3? If I put 3 into 8, is that going to come out evenly? So I'll go 3, 3 more is 6, and if I add 3 more, I'm going to get 9. So 3 is not a factor at all. We're not going to use 3. Let's talk about 4. Does 4 fit into 8? 4 and 4, well, by golly, that's 8 right there. So absolutely 4 is 1 as well. What about 5? Does 5 fit into 8? No. What about 6? No. I'm going to tell you this really, really cool way of always knowing when to stop. Well, obviously 8 is 1 because 8 goes into itself. But once you get halfway through the number, you can't have another factor other than itself at the end. Okay? So your factors for 8 are 1, 2, 4, and the number 8. Okay? Now if you come down to 12, obviously it has a 1 as well. 1 goes into everything that's whole. What about a 2? Yeah. Well, does 3 go into 8? No. But does it go into 12? Yeah. 3, 6, 9, 12. So 3 is 1. What about 4? 4, 8, 12. Yes, 4 is 1. Now what about 5? 5, 10, 15. It is not 1. What about 6? 6 plus 6 is going to give you what? 12. Okay? And then obviously itself, which we can't really use. So now that we have the factors for 12 and we have the factors for 8, we can start going and crossing them off. Let's start with the bigger ones. Can you put 12 into 8? Well, obviously not. Can you put 8 into 12? No way, Jose. What about 6 into 8? Will that work? No, you can't put 6 into 8. So you got these 4 left. Which one of these is the highest number? You know, if you put 1 into both of them, you're going to get 8/12 again. So which one's the higher number? It's the 4. Okay? So in order to reduce this fraction, you could take that 4 and divide 4 into the top and the bottom, right here. And 4 divided into 8 is going to be, how many times does it go in? 2 times. And how many times is 4 divided into 12? 4, 8, 4 more is going to be 12, so that's going to be 3 times. So you have successfully taken the fraction 8/12 and made it smaller. You haven't changed the fraction, you just made the number smaller into 2/3. Can you reduce 2/3? Well, let's see real quick. What are the factors for 2? 1 and 2. Does 2 fit into 3? No, because the only factors 3 has is 1 and 3. So you can only put 1 in, and if you put 1 in, you're going to end up with 2/3 again as well. Okay, I talked to Miss Britt, and she said y'all had done some of these. So I'm just going to give you 4 or 5 of these to work on, and I'm going to see how you do on them. Remember, I'm going to give you a Google Doc with these, and they are going to come out. Most of them are going to come out in a horizontal way. Okay, 3/8. So you're going to decipher that as 3/8. And I would rewrite it if I were you. But remember, you can always use your own piece of paper and send it to me as a picture. All right? So listen, if there's anything I can help you guys with, please let me know. And I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll keep doing some math and doing some more reading and talking about captions and stuff like that. So have a great day, boys and girls.